Quick question and then we begin. Lateral thinking question. A man goes to a bar and restaurant. Okay? A man goes to a bar and restaurant. As soon as he enters the bar and restaurant, the bartender, is usually a bartender, right? The bartender, as soon as this man he sees come in, he does not say anything, does not talk to him, directly takes a double-barreled shotgun, points it at the man as if to blow him away. Alright? I'll repeat again. A man enters a bar and restaurant. As soon as he approaches the bar, the bartender, what does he do? He takes a double-barreled shotgun, points it at this man as if he's going to blow him away. Obviously, what do you think will happen to this man? I mean, he's going to be, scared, shocked, isn't it? Immediately he's shocked. He's not even said anything. He's showing a gun to shoot him. Immediately he's shocked. Just within a split second, he controls himself and he says, "Thank you," and goes out. And repeat the scenario again. A man who enters a bar and restaurant, the moment he enters, the bartender, without saying anything, takes a gun and shows it to him as if he's going to shoot him away. And what does the man do? The man is scared. He's shocked for a split second. After that, what does the man do? He doesn't say anything, but he says, "Thank you," and walks out of the building. The question is, what is happening here? Explain. Again, before you answer. Some of you might know this. This is a very common question. If you know it, please don't answer in the beginning. Alright? Give others a chance, otherwise the fun will go away. If you don't know, feel free to participate. Remember lateral thinking, no guessing. Ask me questions. Ask me. Fire away. Is there anything behind the man? No, there is nothing behind the man. Good. So for all you know, there is behind him, there was one robber. He was coming slowly to, kill this man, and he is showing the gun at him. Good question. No, there is nothing behind the man. And start from the basic assumptions we make. Is it a real gun? It's a real gun. It's a real gun, loaded gun, proper double-barreled shotgun. Is it a real man? Yes. Did this happen really? Yes. Good. All these are basic questions. What else? Was the man a wanted criminal? For all you know, he is a wanted criminal. He is coming in. Daroda Khor is. Just now police are told, if this guy comes, you shoot him. That's why you open the gun. Big deal, isn't it? No, he was not a wanted criminal. Is this a welcoming style in that part of the nation? As soon as somebody comes, we say namaskar, and this fellow says, "What is Bhatini?" Right? So is this a welcoming style? No, it was not a welcoming style. And remember, that guy got scared. You have to feel, every part of the story should fit in.
Is he signing something?
Is he hiding something? You said?
Signing.
Means? Is he signing? No, he is not. There is no signing.
Not that sign.
That which sign? Oh, is he showing a sign? That means he wanted to show him Al-Kutko, so he opened the gun. Right? Showing him a sign. He doesn't want to talk or whatever else. Or for all you know, the gun was pointing at some beer can or something like that. No, it was not a point of shining and so showing any sign. And remember, the guy got scared for a split second. He said thank you afterwards and he went. He did not drink anything. They did not exchange any other words. There has to be some logic. It has to logically tie in together. Do the bartender and customer know each other? No, not related, know each other or related? Good question. Very important question. For all you know, this fellow is he has taken his daughter and run away and married. This fellow comes, he is waiting. Barli, shoot martini. Right? How do you know? We don't know, isn't it? So they are not related. They are absolutely not related. They don't know each other. Both of them don't know each other. Did he come at closing time? In bar. And he is going to say, "Ee closing time shoot mamaduteni." Right? I'm gonna shoot you to death because you're coming at closing time. No, man. No, and remember he said thank you and went to.
Did he shoot?
Is it a prank? Good question. Fantastic questions, by the way. This is very innovative. Is it a prank? For all you know, it was MTV Bakra or something. They had kept one camera and then purposefully show the gun and let's see what happens. Right? So, good question. No, not a prank. Janaga.
Did he shoot?
No, he did not shoot. Remember, he showed the gun. He did not shoot. So, what kind of question you can ask here to help you? He did not shoot. You have to ask me a question. By the way, you cannot answer this at all unless you get to know one concrete fact, something more deeper than what you are asking. What should you ask? He did not shoot, so what should you ask me? He's showing the gun, but he did not shoot. What is the question you should ask? Huh? Huh? Does it shoot? No, it does shoot. It's a real gun. That we have established. It's a real gun. Did he intend to shoot? Everything is with your intention, isn't it? Did he intend to shoot? The answer is no. Sorry? Yes. The man have a health issue. Good question. Not exactly a health issue, or if you want, you might term it as health issue. But basically, the bartender did not want to shoot him. But still he showed the gun. And still that fellow said, thank you. He want to sell that gun. But he is saying thank you and going, no.
He told by someone to do that?
No, he was not told by anybody to do that. Nobody told him as soon as one man comes, show him gun. Yeah, I'll come to that. Huh? Why is the man drunk? Already. And then this bartender wants to say, Kudukond nan barak bartiya nino. Right? Would I support it? Yeah, no. And the man was not drunk. The man was not drunk. Yes. So what else? Somebody already, some people got the answer. I know some of you know the answer as well. People who don't know, it's interesting to take an attempt. Some ladies, you're all very quiet. Please ask questions. Jayanagar, some of you don't talk only. Huh? Please ask me questions.
Is it a movie or a video?
Good question. Is it a movie? Director ಹೇಳ್ದ, right? It could have been a movie. Is it a movie? The answer is no, not a movie. What real world scenario would this make logical sense? So let me dig deeper into the question. Did the man intend to show the gun? No. Did a man intend to shoot, the bartender intend to shoot the man? No. But the bartender intended to help the man. Huh? Where and how can showing a gun help anybody? Did the man have a health issue? Yes. Think. Now you can easily connect. People who don't know. Think.
Because of what do you say? Hiccups.
Yes. This man,
Hiccups.
yeah, fits, hiccups. You can come up with many things. Now once you know this much, now you can easily guess the answer. Very good, by the way. This man had big kadike, hiccups. He was coming into the bar to drink water. The bartender knows that drinking water is not a good way to remove hiccups. The way to remove hiccups from a person is to shock him, scare him. How do you shock this man? He had a gun, newly double-barrel gun. Right? And immediately what happened to the man? He got scared. He definitely got shocked and scared. He was like, oh my God. In that second, hiccup went. And what did he? Now he understood. He is helping me only. That's why he's showing gun. So what did the man say? Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. And he went. Very good. Excellent questions. Fantastic. Good going. All right. Please continue the lateral thinking question game in the topic now. Okay? All right. Now, where are we in our learning? What we have done is we have understood at a high level what makes Java an advantageous programming language. We have understood the buzzwords associated with Java. We have understood some terminologies associated with Java as well. We understand what's a platform. We understand JDK, JRE, what are its contents. We understand how Java is platform independent. We understand at a high level how Java is simpler to learn, you're robust, secure, multi-threaded, etc. We also know how an object-oriented program is better, so to say, from design implementation point of view with respect to a procedural application. How it is easy to meet the requirement, easy to maintain and easy to enhance. And we know Java is a Nova language. Knowing these two things, what do we do next? What we should learn next? Well, we want to start with the language now. We have talked only about high level aspects. We now want to start learning the programming language. Now, how do we start? What is the, and remember, yeah, we want to start the language, and how do we start? Where do we start? Well, we always start any programming language by following a best way to learn. The best way to learn is to start with by looking at one sample example program. Without even learning about the syntax and semantics. What is a programming language? The set of syntax and semantics using which you can build instructions for your program. So ideally we need to learn the syntax and semantics, isn't it? But before you actually begin to do so, the best practice, the best way to learn is to start with an example code. We want to build a first Java program. Please note, we are going to build this first Java program without understanding many aspects of Java yet. However, we will look at the steps of building the Java program, and through that understand all the different things that are necessary to build the Java program. We will understand the structure, we will understand how it works, we will understand in depth, in fair amount of depth, and how every Java program works. Remember this, whether it's a first Java program or a 10 million Java program, whether it's a small Java program or a big Java program, a Java program follows the same structure. That means all we want to do is build a simple Java program through that derive observations. We literally want to play Sherlock Holmes. Alright? So for this, you want to build a Java program means what is it we need to have first? Requirements. So as is customary in any programming language, for us to learn a program, how is the structure of any program? What is the first program that is usually built?
Hello world.
Hello world. So we are going to build a simple hello world program. Which means what? If you simply run this Java program which we are going to create, that program when it runs, what it should print to the monitor? Hello world. That's it, and shut down. That's all. Nothing else. All it needs to do is print hello world. The most useless, the most silly, simplest program you can ever build. But we are going to focus not on the complexity of the program and the coding. We are going to understand more about the structure of the Java program. And we are going to get an inkling of sorts of how every Java program is going to be like. You will see, you will be surprised. Many of you guys from computer science, you already know Hello World program, you already have coded it properly, you might already be exposed to it, but we are going to focus in depth, and we are going to go completely in depth and to understand the structure of the language, the structure of a program. And you will see, whatever we learn now will stick with us throughout the length of the course. Enough of general gyan. Let's get into the nitty-gritties. But before I do that, one quick question for you. Why every programming language learning tutor or a book, if you read, will start with Hello World program only? Not a technical reason, just from a trivia point of view. Tell me, why do we start with Hello World only always?
Easy to understand.
Easy to understand. I got that. But why Hello World? Why not Hello Universe? Why not Hello Re? Hi. It's Hello World only, no? Every book, any book you see, any book on any programming language, first program, always Hello World. Why? Sorry?
Java is widely
Java is widely used? No. Huh? Oh. The reason why we build Hello World program is only one. The father of programming languages, the one who really created a programming language that all of us can learn and use, is your who? C programming language founder, who is Ritchie, right? So because of his work to create C, remember all other programming languages follow C. Most of the languages have been built in C only, isn't it? Java is also primarily built on C in the beginning. So clear, C++ is built on C only. So which basically means, as an ode of respect for what did Dennis Ritchie do to introduce C to the world, is he wrote Hello World. So as a ode of respect to him, sir, nimmindane now. You know, we are developers, and literally it is his grace. Because of his work, we are continuing, we are having jobs, we are doing everything that we are doing. As a word of respect, we create Hello World program. That's just trivia. Now, let's get started. Please note, this discussion I am going to have is about a 4-hour discussion. It's pretty deep and wide, so it is going to finish over 2 or 3 sessions. You got to bear with me throughout. the 2-3 sessions. But at the same time, remember, I've already told you, any questions, any queries, feel free to ask immediately. Don't wait. Not only are we going to learn how to build a Hello World program, that's a 5-minute affair. We are going to learn certain other aspects as well. Like what? We are going to learn this Hello World program and in general the structure of a Java program by following certain best practices. We are going to follow certain best practices. What are best practices? As the phrase itself is saying, they are practices which if we follow, we'll get best throughput, best benefit, so to say. Best practices. Just bear with me on this analogy. Tell me, in real life, a best practice, we can loosely equate it to an advice. Many people in our lives would have given all kinds of advices. Health advice, money advice, education advice, job advice, all kinds of advices. Many advices we know are actually good advices. They are good for us only, isn't it? Give me some of the examples of advices which are good for us to follow. Everybody knows these are good things to follow. Like what? General advice I am saying. Sorry? Wake up early. Good advice. Has anybody told you, don't ever, till 12 o'clock keep sleeping? No, nobody is going to say that. We know also scientifically back proof we have that waking up early in the morning is good for us. We know this. This is a best practice. We know, for example, as soon as you wake up, I don't know if you know, as soon as you wake up, ideally what you need to drink is warm water. That's a best practice. It takes away all the toxins that is there in your esophagus and stomach and flushes it off because the entire system is empty. It kind of flushes it off to your large intestine through which it can be flushed out. All the sticky material, because of warm water, it gets unsticked. It's a best practice. Similarly, we know so many best practices. Like for example, exercising every day is a best practice. It's good. For who? If you exercise, somebody else will not get benefited. We only get benefited. But now my question to you is this. Even though we know take one of these examples, doesn't matter which one. Even though we know one of these things is the best practice and it is good for us, we don't follow it.
Yes.
Some of us still have problems waking up early in the morning, like me. I cannot get up so easily. It's a real difficult task. How many of you wake up at 4 a.m.? Just for my understanding. Anybody wakes up at 4 a.m.? Nobody? Okay, fantastic, thank you. Fantastic. Usually in every batch I ask this question, there are 2 or 3 people who does that, right? But majority of us, 4 a.m. Ye universe illa ankodidini sir. Right? I will be in some tundra loka, some dream loka. I don't know what is 4 a.m. I am also in your group. So some people wake up. But here is my question to you. It is known that waking up at 4 a.m. is good for everybody. By the way, why is it good for everybody to wake up at 4 a.m.? Why is it good? It's not good, huh? Why is it good?
The mind will be different.
The mind will be fresh, different. All right. Yeah, you're right. I mean, everybody knows. First of all, the environment is silent. You know, in 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, you get up. Everywhere, kanku, 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 right? All, bulls and cows and dogs, every animals and vehicles, and everybody is in a hurry to, I don't know, God knows where, right? Everywhere there is sound, etc. And importantly, when you wake up early in the morning, not only is the environment silent, most importantly, our mind is silent. Our mind is silent. And when our mind is silent, you do any job, you give 100% attention to it. And that means the chances of your success increases. This is a well-proven scientific advice. Waking up at 4 a.m. In our ancestry, people say Brahma Muhurta. Correct, no? Some 3:40 or something like that, you should get up. It's a proper scientific thing. But still, even though we know all these things, tomorrow when we will get up is when we will get up only not at 4 a.m. My question to you, bear with me on this analogy because it's very important. Why don't we wake up at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. even though we know it is good for us? Why?
We have not practiced.
Very good.
We are not used to it.
Yes, very good. I want everybody to answer. Why can we not get up? It's a habit. It's a habit.
Laziness.
Laziness. Correct, no? I mean, number one reason people give me whenever I ask this question is laziness. Sir, in the night I have all intention to wake up at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock only. I keep not one alarm, three alarms. Alarm will wake up, I will still keep sleeping. Right? So it's difficult for me. I put the alarm and I sleep. Right? I smash the alarm and I sleep. I know. But here is the thing. The real reason why you cannot wake up early in the morning, I'll tell you, it is because of your mom. Mom and dad. They are the culprits. Why? I'll tell you. As many of you rightly pointed out. Imagine this scenario, okay? That right from when you are 2-year-old or 3-year-old baby, if your parents made you wake up at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., now tell me, fast forward 20 years, now you are 23, 24, is it going to be difficult for you to wake up at 4 a.m.? No way. The real reason why you can't wake up at 4 a.m. easily is because for 23 years you have woken up at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., some of 11. Now suddenly, some best practice somebody will say, wake up at 4 a.m. How we can change? Remember this, the moment you make a habit, whatever it is, there are only two types of habits, you see, good habit, bad habit. But habit by its definition is sticky, it sticks. That means once you make a bad habit of waking up late, we cannot change it easily. We attribute it to our laziness. It's not just laziness, it is a human effect, it's a human way of being, that it is very difficult to change something we have already acquired as a habit, both bad ones as well as good ones. So that means if our parents make us wake up at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. every day just because they want us to sleep so that we don't do galata, clearly suddenly we can't start waking up at 4 a.m. So that means, remember this carefully, what is it we want to do in programming is we want to follow certain best practices. Not just learn technology, learn syntax, no, not just that. We want to learn the best way of doing things. So I will be focusing on many best practices. You are not here to learn just syntax of Java. You can take a book, go to YouTube, free video, you will get it. You are here to learn programming with best practices. Because that's how we develop code in the real world. That is the kind of code that matters. And here is the important best practice. The first best practice I am trying to tell you now. What is the first best practice? Exactly what we discussed. Which is follow best practices from beginning. This is the first best practice. Right? What are we going to do? Not learn Java programming first, understand everything in technology, then try to implement a best practice. You will never do it. You understand? Right from day one, if you are learning something new, what are you going to implement are with best practices. You get that? This is very, very important. Take it to heart, guys, because you will be learning many things in your career. Everything you learn newly, implement best practices right then and there. Do not make it a habit to do bad things, because the moment you do a bad thing thrice, 3 times you do the same thing, stuck. I mean, you would have seen people buy Mercedes car, people buy, all your BMW, OMW car, expensive 60 lakh, 80 lakh rupee car. Have you seen many drivers drive with their windows, with their mirrors closed? Have you seen or not in the road? Now in Bengaluru, if you have both windows open with third window, with your head turning everywhere, still you can't drive properly, considering the traffic that is there. But some of these people close with their windows, drive with their windows, the mirrors closed. How? And I can assuredly tell you, if at all you are driving any vehicle and going behind such people, be careful. Because he is driving blind. He can come suddenly left, suddenly right, anytime. They are bound to create accidents. Now, he has probably been driving for 20 years. And yet, he is driving with the window, mirrors closed. Can you tell me why he does that? Anybody? And by the way, I have stopped people and asked them. Why?
His brain is used to that.
His brain is used to that. Habit. You know who inculcated the habit? That Maruti driving school. That trainer. No, he would have told him first, please close the mirror and drive, because I don't know where you will where you will hit the mirror when it is open, because you don't know to drive. So what will this driver do who is learning newly? He will close both the mirrors and start driving. Immediately, the moment he does it for a week, it becomes an habit. For his life, next 70 years he will be driving with keeping his mirrors closed. Are you with me? Don't make the mistake of attracting a negative habit, especially in programming and in general in life too. Because the moment you create a negative habit, we are stuck. It is extremely difficult to change it. That's why our Mahatma Gandhi told, man makes habit. If man makes habit, then habit makes man. Man breaks habit, habit breaks man. Right? What a beautiful saying. So, I want you to carefully consider this and follow this best practice. That is, anything you learn, anything, and we are going to apply this in our training as well. Anything we are going to learn it with best practices. That's the number one best practice. First best practice to follow. Are you with me? Alright, enough of the gyan. Let's get into work. So now, let's start. What are the steps to follow to build Hello World program? All I want to do is build a Java program which will spit out Hello World. So first and foremost, I'm going to talk to you about steps. Because we are very new to Java. I am assuming we are new to Java. I know some of you are not. But we are going to start from literally scratch. Right? I am not going to assume you know anything. We are going to literally start from scratch. So assuming or starting off from that point of view, what are the steps to follow? I am a developer now. I want to code a Java program. What should I install on my system? The first thing I need to install is JDK. Are you with me? I got to install JDK. Obviously, I need JDK. Where should I download the JDK from? Internet. From some Oracle site, I would need to download JDK. And remember, JDK I need to install for which platform? Our platform, my platform. JDK we already know is platform specific, platform dependent. So we need to download the JDK of our platform. How to do that? We'll see. But this is the step. Now after doing this, we want to code, right? You want to code means what do you need? You need an editor. Somewhere to code. Typically the best practice that is followed for development is to use IDEs, integrated development environments, to code. Like for example Eclipse or NetBeans. Some of you may be aware. But we are not going to follow that. We are going to follow the Puritan approach of learning application development. The first thing we will do is install a notepad like software, and in Windows it is called TextPad. It's just a freeware which is there. I want you to install TextPad and use this purposefully for some time. Later we will shift to Eclipse. It is not a good practice. I mean, I know real-time programming, the good practice, best practice is to use IDEs. But it is not a good practice to learn programming using IDEs. It is a best practice to learn programming using normal notepad-like environment. And notepad is bad to use simply because notepad is black and white, ugly. It is okay for text. That's why we use TextPad. It understands Java code. It does syntax highlighting, color TV. Okay, it's better. So we'll install TextPad and we'll install JDK. Well, now one more best practice I'm going to throw at you, which we are going to follow throughout. Here is my question. I've installed JDK. I've installed TextPad. How do I know whatever I have done is correct or not? Take it to your real life. Tell me. You close your door at your home the moment you go home. You enter inside, you close the door. How do you know the action you have taken is proper or not? What is it you do? It's an innate human functionality. What is an innate human functionality is, remember we already know our definitions. To dash is to be human. To err is to be human. To err is to be human. That means we know we always make mistakes. Because we so deeply within ourselves we know that we make mistakes. What is a subconscious way of behavior that we have is every action we take, if we need to be confident about that action, what is it we do? Check. Test it. I wear a dress. The moment I wear a dress, I have been wearing dresses right from my childhood age. I means anybody. So I wear a dress, but I'm not sure whether I've worn it properly or not. What is it I need to do? I've been wearing it every day, but still I'm not confident. I need to check. I'll put in front of a mirror and say, right? Mirror is not there. Take phone, selfie, right? And then, right? Do we do that or not? If that is also not there, walking on the street, some mirror of one scooter, right? This, what are we doing? We are testing. You close the door. How do you check whether the door is closed or not? Push. Correct? No, you push, you pull, you try to open it. If it does not open, close again. Yes or no? Some of us, before going to bed in the night, we are given the responsibility of closing all the doors and the windows. How do you check? Everything we have closed. 100 times we would have closed. Right? We close it and we try to open everything. And some of us more OCD people, we have a lock which we have to put. We put our finger in that also. Correct? No? So, close again. Right? Double lock. Why do we do this? It's simply because we do not have belief in our actions. We are not sure what we have done is proper or not. In exactly the same way, welcome to the next best practice. The next best practice we are going to follow. For every action you will be taking in programming world is to follow an approach to programming called TDD. I call it TDA. It's called test driven approach. Test driven approach. What is a test driven approach? The test driven approach says every step you take, immediately you test it. Because how are we sure what we have done is proper or not? Only after we are sure what we have done is proper, we are confident, we can move to the next step. If you have installed JDK, you have installed testbed, now you suddenly start coding and java.exe is not there, JVM is not there, then we are going to get a problem later. Better to check immediately. Please inculcate this as a habit right from day one, not later, because don't make it a bad habit later. First, from the beginning, every step, consciously test. Once you do it for a few times, it becomes an unconscious imprint in your mind. It automatically becomes a habit. Everything you do, you will start testing. So let's apply this now. You have to install JDK first and then expand. How to install JDK means I need to test it. How do I test? What should I test? I need to verify what is it I should have gotten. JVM, compiler, runtime library, development tools. All these 4 things I should have gotten. So let's check. I'll show you. When you install JDK, by default, let's say on a programming, on a Windows platform. So typically, you have a folder called program files. Inside these program files, what will be created is a subfolder called Java. Inside this, what is created is a folder called JDK, 1.8.x, whatever version, right? Latest version is 1.8. And inside this, there will be many subfolders that will be created: bin, conf, log, lib, JRE, etc. Observe. First thing we'll do is we'll observe. Have we got all these folder structures or not? Once we have got all these folder structures, we're like, JDK installation. Okay. But we'll observe. What is it we need? You will see in your bin folder, what is it you will see and notice is whether there is a java.exe, whether there is a javac.exe, whether there is a javap.exe, java doc.exe, java h.exe. You will see whether there are many exe files. What does this javac.exe represent? Your compiler. What does your java.exe represent? Your JVM. What do all these other exe files represent? Development tools. Very good. Have we gotten the 3 things now or not? JVM, compiler, development tools. What is the last thing pending? Runtime library. Runtime library. Where do you think it is found?
Library.
Library is a logical answer, but it is not found there. In a JRE, there is a subfolder called lib. Inside this lib, there is a file. Before I tell you what is the name of the file, what did we say runtime library in Java is? A collection of Java programs which has already been built, isn't it? So how is a collection of Java programs, and how many? Only 6,000 programs. 6,000, and these 6,000 programs that are already built should be given to me as runtime library. It is given to me as a jar file. Jar. 6,000 files are compressed, zipped to one file called jar file. So inside this, there is a file called rt.jar. This rt.jar is some 60 MB file actually. It's a fat file, right? This contains 6,000 Java programs. Are you with me? So have we got all the 4 things we needed to get for JDK or not? Tick, 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 tick. Abba. Everything we have got. So tested. Now we are confident. We can move ahead. We are confident there is compiler. We are confident there is JVM. Same way. What is it I need to test? TextPad. TextPad is simply a software. T icon will come. I open it. Whether the editor will open or not, I will check. As soon as the editor opens, I am sure everything is fine. So tested, done. Step 0 done. Next step. What is it I am going to do? Any questions, guys? Any questions so far? Don't worry about what all these exes will do right now. Yes.
Why do we use this conf, log and lib?
Yeah, so we are not going to use all these things ourselves. But basically all of these things are used by the JVM and other applications, other example exe files that are there, right? We don't need to use all of them. But this is what is given to you, right? All these are there. So lib will have some other jar files, log will have logs of the subprograms, etc. and things like that. Conf will have your security policy, right? So there are various other aspects for which reason there are so many folders. Not all of them are important for us at the time being. Yes. Anything else? That's what. We don't know. What is Java p.exe, h.exe, doc.exe? We don't even know what java.exe does. All those are development tools. Did you need to get development tools or not? When you buy a TV, as soon as the TV is delivered to your house, what do you do first? Check. TV is there your remote or not? Is there an instruction manual or not? You don't know whether it is going to work properly or not work properly. First you are going to check. We have checked. Is everything there that we wanted? Yes. We proceed along. We'll have to learn those development tools later. Now, what is it we need to build? We need to build a Java program. A Java program we know already. We are going to build it as nothing but a .java file. So we are going to build hello world.java. But a question comes. Where do I store this folder? Where do I store this file? Again, we are going to follow. We have already taken the decision that we are going to follow best practices. So the basic best practice that we are going to follow is we are going to build a development environment. So what is the next step? Is we are going to build a development environment. Please note, many of you might have already coded in Java, but you have not followed all these things. Why? Because you don't need these things. These are best practices. Best practices are not rules. They are advice. They are just practices, conventions. Like when you are driving in a road, in which side of the road should you drive in? Left side. Driving in left side in India is a not best practice. Rule. We can be put to jail if we are going on the right side. Isn't it? It's a rule. But now tell me, if there is a one way, there is a one way in this direction. And now tell me, which side will you drive? Left side or right side? Which side will you drive? Any side? You can drive any side. Will the policeman come and catch you if you drive any side? No. You can go like this, you can go like this. It's your wish, isn't it? But which side should you drive? The answer is no. The answer is it depends on our speed. That's a best practice. Best practice. If you are going very, very slow, remember, in India, what is the rule for overpassing or overtaking? How do you overtake? From right side. So if you are driving a vehicle which is very slow, you should go on left side. So other people can pass you easily. Is it not? So if you are going very fast, then you please go on right side. Otherwise you will keep on going bumping to other people. Isn't it? This is a not rule. Best practice. And what is the benefit of best practice, Rick? What is the benefit of following best practice? Best results. Guaranteed results, best results. Not a rule, but if you follow it, you get best results. Like you would have seen in road many a times, especially Jayanagar side, when you are going on Banshankari road, etc. I see this always, right? There will be an auto fellow going slowly in up, carrying all the water bottles or whatever it is, right? And good. And behind him, one big Bhutakara bus. Papa. Where will the bus go? He can't go anywhere. Why? Because this fellow is not following best practice. If this nutcase was going this side, could the bus could have easily overtaken and gone or not? And behind this bus, car, behind that one cycle, behind that auto, behind that, full one truckload of, 100 vehicles are jammed. All because of why? One reason. This auto fellow has not been taught. Remember this, don't always only focus on rules. This is the mistake we all do. Please don't focus only on rules. Rules, though, anyways we have to follow. Focus on best practices. They give you guaranteed best results. Sometimes you don't realize the results immediately. We realize the results only later. Like for example, my mom used to tell, right? Please brush in the night before you sleep. Problem is, first 10 years I did not do it. It has become a bad habit. Now, for the next 20 years also I have to do. My mom was telling, Ujjo, please brush. In the night you brush. I said, oh, really? You only brush. So clearly, after 35 years, I am getting to know now. Root canal here, this fellow falling down, that fellow falling down. And I went to a dental doctor. I asked him, why my teeth is like that, my sister's teeth is not like that, my mom's teeth is not like that, why I have a problem here? He said, you did not brush at night. One kapala to me. Right? And my mom was waiting. Right? I told you 20 years ago to follow best practice. But then, when I was young, it appeared as a chore. It appeared as a task. Who will do this? You know? Remember, many a times best practices, the advantage, you will not see it immediately. That is why we don't follow this. Right? So, but make it a mark, make it a point, take it to heart, guys. Follow best practices from the beginning. Anything that you do, be it in walking, be it in sitting, be it in drinking, be it in eating, because everything impacts me and my life. We want what results in our life? Mediocre results, bad results, or best results? Best results. That means we should follow best practices. Are you with me? Okay. Will you all follow this, everything you do?
Yes.
No. Okay, all right, yes, thank you. Just kidding. I know you will. Yeah, I know we know these things, but they are important to be said. They are very important to be followed. So, what is a best practice to be followed is to build something called as a development environment. What is this development environment? I'll tell you. At the most basic visceral level, a development environment is nothing but a set of folders we create to separate out the different types of resources we create. What does that mean? Basic development environment is to create, in let's say C: programs as a folder, I'll create subfolders named source, SRC, source or SRC. I'll create one more folder called classes, CLS or bin. I'll create a folder called library lib. I will create 3 subfolders in my base folder called programs. This, at the most basic level, is what we call as a development environment. What is the so-called development environment? The thing is, in any development in any language, you will be creating some source code. That source code you will compile. Compiled forms and files are different. Source codes files are different. And typically, in the object-oriented world is all about dash principle. Yes. Towel.
Right.
What do you do with towel?
Right.
Dry. Don't repeat yourself. Which means we will be using other built programs. That means I will be creating code, I will be compiling my code, and I will be using somebody else's code also. The most basic development environment, separate out these things. What will I create and store in source folder? My source code, nothing but .java. What will I create in my classes folder? Result of compiling this .java file class. What will I create and store, or what will I store in my lib folder? Jar files. What are jar files? Java archive. Archive means zip. Zip of .class files. It's a zip of .class files. So when my program depends on somebody else's classes, somebody else's Java program, I will download it as a jar file. We'll talk more about that shortly. Are you with me? So what am I doing? Am I separating out my resources or not? This is the best practice. Again, some of you might ask, see, all I want is hello world. Why all this nonsense? Create no folder. I will directly create hello world.java, compile it, run it, mugit next program. Remember, don't be in a hurry. This best practice has a long, deep impact in the way we code. Everywhere you go, any project you do, you will be creating and following a development environment strategy. So we are honoring that right now, so that you don't need to learn something new later. Let us follow the best thing right from the beginning. For that reason, we are creating a development environment. And there are benefits, by the way. Tomorrow you want to delete all your compiled code. You need to only delete in classes. You want to recompile all your .java code. You need to just recompile from here, overwrite the files here. You want to package everything and give it to the customer. You can package it from classes folder. So there are benefits we get, which you can't see immediately. Following development environment is a best practice. So we'll build a development environment, and we will now create using textpad hello world.java. Where will we store this hello world.java? Source folder. Are you with me? Source folder. Okay, fantastic. Then what is the next step to do after building this? What should I do? I've created my .java file. What should I do? Compile. How to compile? We will see. Compile hello world.java, and ideally compiled hello world.java to what? Hello world.class. Okay. Remember, where do we want hello world.class to be placed? Classes folder. Alright, we'll come to that. Then what should I do? I've created my file, compiled it. Can I simply give it to customer? I mean, in this case there is no customer, but should I simply build a code, compile it and give it to customer? Customer will ask, everything is okay? Mostly. What is the important thing we have to do? You test. God knows what we have done. We have ultimate talent to write bad code. Even in a single line Java program, we will write buggy code. Don't at all doubt our talent. Okay? That means the only safety for us is to immediately test. Test, test and test. Immediately test. Some of you are coming from testing background. You can easily relate to this best practice. And if every developer would have followed this, life for you would have been easier. Isn't it? So clearly, this is a best practice approach to development. So, what are you going to do is run and test. These are steps. We are looking at steps. All of these steps I will manifest. And we need a couple of hours at least to discuss in detail. Alright. We have seen this step. Done. Development environment. Done. Before I show you any other step, please ask me doubts. Why a development environment? What is a development environment? What am I doing to implement development environment? What are the best practices? Why the best practices should be followed? Any of the doubts you have in these two steps? Any queries? Even the smallest query, please ask. Don't worry whether it's a good question or a bad question. There is the only bad question. There are bad questions. You know what are bad questions? The question you don't ask. That's the only bad question. Every question is a good one. Please ask. Because I tell you, there is another problem. We have another bad habit. I remember distinctly when I was going to school, when I was young, I was a non-stop questionnaire. As soon as the teacher comes, why you have come? Why that lady has not come? The moment she started geometry, why geometry is called geometry? I asked this to the teacher, why geometry is called geometry? The teacher got so wild. Right? Geometry and geometry. Then, okay, I kept quiet. Then she said, this is circle, this is square. I asked her, why square is not called circle and circle is not called square? Fundamental doubt I have. She is thinking that, this is square, this is circle, I will understand. I don't understand. Fundamental question, doubt I have. Why is this called circle? ಹೇಳ್ರಿ. She got so wild. I mean, I wish things were taught to me in better ways. Because, I'm telling you, as a kid, we have infinite curiosity. We have infinite questions. Isn't it? And there is no difference between you and me. I'm sure you are exactly the same. Everything would be a question to you. But unfortunately, what happens, I tell you, our education successfully kills this curiosity. I tell you what my teacher did. My teacher made me stand up on bench and gave me rup. Throughout the class, I was standing just like that. Why? Because I asked questions. This is the surest way to kill creativity in a human being, right? And the teacher only did not know. Geometry is called geometry. It is because geo and metry. It comes from the root word where the earth, the whole understanding is about the earth's shapes, and that's where it comes. And there is a reason for why every shape is named the way it is, right? But she didn't know that. She said geometry means geometry. And unfortunately, what happens, I tell you, I started asking questions like that, and every teacher started scolding me, and finally I stopped. And in my third standard, I stopped. Once I stopped, no, habit. Till engineering teachers would ask me, question idea. Vogalo. No questions. If the teacher wants to ask questions, please ask. Complex Fourier transforms, I've just told you now, please ask. Telling you, asking question is the best practice to learn anything. I know you have been taught to not ask. So please, come out of those comfort zone, ask me doubts. Asking doubts will help you, it will help me help you, it will help others too. There is no side effect of asking questions. Please ask. If your mind doesn't come up with questions, some of you might say, I don't get any question at all. Everything I only tell you. I'm understanding everything you're saying. Force your mind to ask questions. Simply ask anything. Don't ask, but force yourself. The reason is because I don't want to turk all the best practices in one day, and the best practice to learn anything is to ask questions. Even questions created simply will help you to learn it better. So, any questions at any time, feel free to ask. So far, any doubts? All right? No doubts? Okay, good enough. Now, I'm going to build the helloworld.java. Our entire next session is going to be on this code. And you will be surprised how much in depth we can go into the language, how much in depth we can learn about the language just by seeing one Java program. As our own ancestors in India say, you wanted to understand the macrocosm, the universe. Universe is a big place, you see. It's a very, very big place. Millions and billions of galaxies, millions and billions of stars, millions and billions of free space, black holes, quasars, my God. But our ancestors say, you want to understand the macrocosm, all you need to do is look at the microcosm. Don't look at outside to understand how the outside works. All you need to do is look at inside. Because what is outside is nothing but a reflection of what is inside. And that's true. Now we know from science point of view, as you go deeper and deeper and deeper, you go to atoms, etc., isn't it? And atom and neutron and proton, they are nothing but reflections of what is there in your galaxies, what is there in your solar system. It is the same mirror, isn't it? What happens in the bigger scale is what is already happening in your smaller scale. It's the same way you understand one small thing in entirety, then you understand the entire universe. That's what Leonardo da Vinci would say. Whenever, Leonardo da Vinci, who he created what? He is famously called as what? He is famously called as 10 man in one. He is famously called as 10 man in one. He was a painter. Which painting? Yeah. Mona Lisa. He created Mona Lisa, right? And he was a painter. He created the first design for a helicopter. He was a botanist. He was a scientist, a physicist, a geologist. He's called 10 man in one. Genius. He was a genius. And he was a genius when he was living only. And people knew it. Right? And usually when you are very good at something, it goes to our head, you see. right? People used to ask him, sir, ನೀವು ಹೆಂಗೆ? How are you like this? You know, how can you create so many things? Right? And to which Leonardo da Vinci has famously said, whenever I am painting, whenever somebody says I am a good painter, I am a good creator, etc., all I do is go out of my house, take a leaf and come and keep it next to my painting. Then I understand that how much of depth that is there to a leaf and how much I am writing or painting is so abysmally poor that I understand there is nothing special in me. Where is it that is everything is special is in this universe. One leaf has how much of depth, I cannot reflect that in my painting. So why are you asking me how I can create? You ask the question to the universe, because the universe creative ability is much more in depth. What I am trying to tell you is, what he said is exactly this, that if you can go in depth into one thing and learn, you can learn everything. And this is the reflection of our Indian ethos, right? So anyway, the same way you will see, we will just go in depth completely into hello world.java example, and you will understand the entire Java world. Literally, any project, any code, you can understand just by understanding hello world.java. You will see, I'll prove it to you practically. But now, we don't have time enough to get into the hello world.java, but I want to show you the rest of the steps. What are the remaining 2 steps after creating hello world.java? Imagine we have created it. Where would we have created it? Is C:\program/source. Now what we need to do is compile it. How do I compile it? I'm not using an IDE, so I need to invoke the Java C executable. So what am I going to fire is my command prompt. You know how to fire your command prompt? Windows start CMD. What will come up is your ugly black and white screen. C:\program files or wherever it is, users or wherever it is, system/users, wherever the control will be. Now, what should I do first? Cursor will be blinking. What should I do? Java C. Change directory. CD. And where should I take the control to? C:\program/source. Hit enter key. Correct, no? The moment you type this, where will the control come to? C:\program/source. I am telling you elementary steps. I will show you all of this as well. Now, what should I do?
Java C.
No, not Java C yet. What should I do? Check. Remember test driven approach. What should I check is that it should already be there. My hello world.java. You can't compile a file that doesn't exist, you see. First you have to see dir. I'm being slow to show you that you need to follow the best practices. Test driven approach. dir. What we should see is hello world.java. Assume it is there. Now, what should I invoke is Java C. There is a problem now. Where is Java C.exe?
It's in bin dash.
Bin. Dustbin, bin. Bin folder, correct no? In which folder? Some JDK Java folder somewhere in program files. But where do I want to use Java C.exe? In source. By default, exe files are executed by OS. The OS searches it only in the same folder. Are you with me? So what I should tell OS? Nodappa, I will execute Java C. Please don't search it in this folder, but search it in bin. Are you with me? By default, when I say Java C, OS will search only in this folder. And you type in Java C and hello world.java, it will come back to you with a scolding. Java C is not recognized as an internal or external command. Are you with me? So you need to tell the OS. How do you tell the OS? Well, there is a step here to be done, which I had not added. That is, after installing JDK TextPad or along with this, what is it you will do is you will configure an OS environment variable called path. You will configure an OS environment variable called path. What is this path? Don't worry, I will show you. How to set it up, I will show you. I will give you a document with all the steps as well. But all we are going to do is tell the OS, look, I will use Java C.exe wherever I want. Where you should pick it up from is bin folder. So to this path, I will specify the C:\program files Java JDK 1.8 etc. /bin. This is the path of your exe files. Are you with me? Many of you know, some of you might not, doesn't matter. It's a one-time step. Step 0, how many times I should do? Once. Installing JDK, installing TextPad, configuring OS. Building development environment, how many times I will do? Once. Repetitively based on my requirement, what will I create? New .java, compile them, run and test them. Alright. Now, I have set up the OS environment variable. How to set it, I will show you. It's a simple thing. Alright. Once I set it, what I should immediately do? You test. How do I test? Very simple. I'll open your command prompt. I fire the command prompt. The moment I fire up the command prompt, no cd goody, just javac enter. What will happen? One of two things. Either you will get one statement output which you understand, or your entire screen is filled with options which you don't understand. If your entire screen is filled with options that you don't understand, you have done everything pakka. One statement baigla, you get problem. Joke aside, when you hit javac, if the path environment variable is set correctly, that means where will the OS pick javac.exe from? Bin folder. And when you invoke javac, it gives you all options, 20 different options. We don't know what the options are yet. However, if you have not set the path correctly, what is the OS going to scold? It will search in the users folder, it is not there, it will come back to you saying javac is not recognized as an internal or external command. Remember this, the moment you find a mistake, if you find the mistake quickly, easy to fix it. You find the mistake later, more difficult to fix. So that's why we follow the test driven approach. We find the problem, we go back, fix the path, come back, open command prompt, type javac, you should see options. Once you see options, we are like, path variables set correctly. Don't worry too much about this, I will show you. Now, we have already tested it. We have now come to C:/program/source. We have already done dir. Our hello world.java is there. So what should I do? Invoke javac. And what should I ask this javac compiler to compile? My .java file, hello world.java. But there is a fundamental problem now. Well, there are two things. Let me tell you. Whenever you invoke javac hello world.java or anything .java, what you are asking the compiler to do? Compile this .java file. What does that mean? We already discussed. It is going to convert higher level .english Java code to lower level intermediate byte code which is platform independent. Agreed? But here is the thing. What does a compiler do apart from conversion? Or before conversion, the compiler does a very important job, which is what we discussed. Compiler's job is to check. Have we followed all the rules of the language? No, not. Just as an analogy to help you remember. A compiler is like a Kadu's PT master. I don't know in what type of a school you studied. In my school that I studied, very nearby to Rajajinagar, we had a PT master who was extremely strict. So strict he was that if he whenever used to come, even headmaster would stand in attention. I am not at all joking. Super strict guy. And we all of us, I mean, whenever he wanted to say something, no, he would not do the talking. His school would do the talking. His stick, rap. Everybody would, all the boys especially, they would have, Eemantal Muresalakana, right? 3 badge of honor, right? Only 3 times I've got hit. Somebody will say, oh, it's Salakana. If only one time you got hit means you are hero of the school only. Because that's the kind of a PT master we had. Anyway, what he would make us do also, I'll tell you. Every January 26th and August 15th, Republic Day and Independence Day, he would take us to the Republic parade grounds and he would make us do exercises. All these, pyramid and all these structures and whatnot. We were all school kids. For us to train, we have to train now. We cannot simply go there and do. For us to train, he would train us for like 2 months every year. Problem is 40 kids, 50 kids has to be trained means where to train? In a ground, no. Our school doesn't have ground. So he would make us walk on the road 1 kilometer in the middle of the day in the hot sun. He would take us to a ground and there he would teach us. All very complex exercises. Along with cows, people who are playing cricket, along with all the junk that is there, we would be doing. Anyway, just to end this, if any small mistake we did, what would come to us? Rup. Right? I mean, he was not a bad man at all, right? But he would hit us. Smallest mistake. On those occasional days when we did everything perfect, not a single mistake, you know what would the Kadus PT master say? Nothing. Not even one shabash. Compiler. Like that only. You invoke compiler and you have built your first Java program. Even the smallest mistake you do, one semicolon missing, compiler will come back to you. What kind of a Java developer are you? You don't know how to code, you don't know semicolon, you have not put this, that. Hazard errors. Smallest mistake you do. If you have followed everything perfectly, what does the compiler say? Nothing. Nothing. Control comes back to C:\program/source. Not even one shabash. Developer adre hinge. This is the way you have to code. Ataboy. Nothing. The compiler says nothing. So, if you invoke the compiler and you get errors, that means we have made a mistake in coding, we have made a mistake in following syntax and semantics. We will go back to our text pad, change the code, save it, come back here, compile. That's the first thing to learn. Second thing to learn is, there is a problem. The problem is, if the compiler doesn't say anything, that means what it has already created? Hello world.class, bytecode, isn't it? But the problem is, where it would have created the hello world.class is same folder. But where do we want, as per the development environment rule, best practice, where we want the .class file to be created? That means we need to learn an option of the compiler to tell the compiler to create the .class file, not in the same folder, but in your classes folder. First option we are going to learn is -d or -d destination option. So Java C -d, where is the destination? C:\program/classes. Which file do you want it to compile? Space hello world.java. So Java C space -d space C:\program/classes space hello world.java. Are you with me? If the control comes back to C:\program/source without saying anything, what do you know already has happened is success of compilation. So where should I browse? Classes folder. That's why it's better to open two command prompts. I'll show you in the next session. We'll do all this. In C:\program/classes, again, double check, test driven approach, dir. What should I see as a file? Hello world.class. Imagine it is there. Now I want to run it. How do I run a Java program? So this step done. Step, we have only seen high level step. We'll do it later. But how do I run it now? I cannot run it directly. What should I invoke? JVM. How do I invoke JVM? Java.exe. Do I need to teach the OS where to search it again? No. I've already set up path. It'll pick it up from the bin folder. So it'll invoke the JVM. And to this JVM, what will I give as a name? Only hello world. No .class. Please note. Here when we invoke compiler, we gave hello world.java file name. But here when we are invoking, we say Java space only hello world. The moment you do this, and if hello world.class is there, what will the JVM do is run the program. What is it you will see on the monitor is hello world. And a control will come back to C:\program/classes. All this pujiti that we are taking just for this jujube hello world to be printed. Are you with me? But the learning of this discussion, learning of following all these steps is the most important step, which is how do we build hello world.java? What are its contents? How do we make sense of it? That is tomorrow's session. It's good that we are going to start afresh when you are fresh about the discussion of this code, because there is a lot of learnings and lot of things to remember. We will do it afresh in the next session. But having said that, were we able to successfully run our program or not? Yes. And not. This Java, when we invoke, JVM is called, and to the JVM we are giving the name of our class, hello world basically. Right? Not hello world.class, but hello world. The philosophy we are going to use to learn and take observations away is the lateral thinking approach. Why? Why we give hello world.java here? Why we don't give hello world.class? Why we are naming it hello world? Why everything is going to happen? The question repetitively you will be asking is why? The answers will help us understand in a fair amount of depth the structure of any Java program. Are you with me? So at a high level, apart from step 2, are the other steps clear to you? How we are going to compile and how we are going to run?
Yes.
Okay? I will show you obviously, and you will do it in the lab obviously, but our learning, major learning is going to be in this, which is what we will see in depth. I need all full 3 hours to go into this discussion in depth and to have takeaways. In fact, your true session starts from tomorrow. True learning starts from tomorrow. Having said that, today's learning is what? This. That you need to start following best practices from beginning, and the best practice we will always follow. Every action we take is we will test it. Only then we will have confidence, and we will also follow that all the code is going to reside in a development environment. Tomorrow I will be adding another 2 best practices as well. Are you with me so far?